People deluded, I'm back again. Now, you guys have seen my video in regards to Aaron Ramsey and the emerging reports in regards to him not signing a contract or the contract offer, which was a 4-year deal, I believe. Obviously, a significant wage increase was removed. So, yeah, I've more or less given my opinions, but I've sat here this morning before I go and have a shower and get ready to start my day and thought of the pros and cons. And for me, anyways, I've told you before, like, it's a bit weird for me because I'm not gonna die if Ramsey leaves. I mean, Ramsey's been more vital than Jack Wilshere, so it makes no sense. But that departure hurt me more. Alexis for sure, even Oxlade, and we're at the point now. We know what the club's on in the sense that if we get Champions League, great. But I don't know about anyone else. I've accepted not finishing the Champions League for a 3rd year running. We know there's austerity measures despite the fact we're cash rich. So there's a lot of things to be positive and not be positive about, because when you look at the face of it, you see Aaron Ramsey, you see a promising manager and seeing what we could do post-Wenger. But the mentality of the club, the direction of the club is a bit so-so. And the sailors of the ship or the captains of the ship really need to decide themselves, because we don't know where we're going. But yeah, it's a weird one for me, like I said, because I like Ramsey. So I always try and sit down and be as objective as possible. So with that being said, I've sat down this morning and made a pros and cons list essentially of Ramsey. So yeah, you lot can make up your own minds. I'm pretty sure you have already, but let me spit them anyways. Do you want the pros or the cons first? Let's start with the pros because there's less, to be fair. I mean, what I've got written down is, I mean, regardless, I do think his goal scoring record is overstayed, because there's only 2-3 real goal scoring seasons from him off the top of my head. But we lose a goal threat. We know at times it's undisciplined and he vacates the pivot, but no one in our midfield, stats don't back it up, but no one in our midfield looks as likely to score as Ramsey, purely because no one gets in them positions as Ramsey. Obviously they do, but you get the point. So we'd be losing that. We'd be losing a match winner. We'd be losing an engine in midfield. I'm not saying anyone else doesn't have that, or box to box. Regardless, I mean, regardless of what you say, he's been here since 17. He's 27, turning 28 in December. He should be one of these players that the fans resonate with, or the fans look to carry the club. Not in the sense of we expect you to do Mesut Ozil passes or behave like Aubameyang and Lacazette, but you should transmit what the club means, in the sense that Sir Alex Ferguson, I mean, he didn't have to tell you what Man United meant, but he had players that knew damn well what it meant. So you'd think he's that. We'd lose some dynamism in midfield. We really should have been getting 40 minimum million pounds in the summer for him. Now in January, I mean, the man's going for free, so we're not getting no money. I mean, we signed him for 7.5 million, so to vacate a profit on that doesn't look like a bad thing. But you could have made 40 million. January, you're hoping on 20 to 25, to be honest, maybe even less, or he's going for free. So to lose someone at 27, 28 years of age, prime of his career, considering that you stayed with him through loss of form, indifferent form, injuries, not really be underwhelmingness as well, trying to find his feet. Is he a deep line? Is he box to box? Is he a cam? Etc, etc. Many a time he was forced out wide as well. So we're losing a midfield option. Obviously our midfield, at least for the next 6 months, if he was to leave, would be a bit lightweight as well. Guendouzi, Torreira, Lucas Torreira, Guendouzi, Maitland-Niles and El Nene, they're all good players. I believe in all of them, but it doesn't really fill you with any confidence. El Nene is a squad player at best. Torreira is sick, but it's still his first season. Guendouzi the same, plus he's 19 years of age. He does move pretty consistent, but he might have a loss in form. The same goes for Maitland-Niles. Beyond that, you're looking at Joe Willock. I mean, the club claims to be self-financing, claims to be under financial constraints, claims to have to watch finances and be a bit more proactive than the Uniteds and Cities with finances. So when I see stuff like this and you've got a player running down his contract and you could have been sold for 40, 50 million, it used to anger me. Now I genuinely believe that the club don't know what they're doing. People in these high positions don't have a clue, to be fair, regardless of their qualifications and experience, because I'm a humble football fan sitting in my room. I don't know what they know. I don't know finances, both of the club and in general, as they know. But I do know that you should be asking this person. Talk should have started towards the end of the season, which was considered too late to me anyways. Talk should have started July, August. You see what man's on. If he's not here, if he doesn't want to stay, go. He did look like he wanted to stay, but the offer's been removed, so we'll never know. So that's all I got for pros. And oh yeah, and beyond the pros, I mean, just on the basis of how Uno Emery's used him as this kind of 10, I mean, you've got Reece Nelson, if he returns on loan, could be used in that. Ironically, played in the 10 role for Hoffenheim against Hanover. You're looking at Joe Willock as well. Beyond that, at least for the next 6 months, if he was to leave in January. So in regards to the cons, I must admit, I thought of more than I thought, to be honest with you. I mean, firstly, excluding the FA Cup final, which everybody was great, from Mertesacker to Holding to Mesut Ozil chasing down Hazard, Coquelin doing stepovers, Ramsey was the match winner. Fantastic. But it weren't only him. He gets all the glory like he single-handedly won the final. Credit to him. He turned up in that game. He turned up against Hull. He turned up. He's turned up when we've needed him. I remember a good game a couple of years ago against City. He played well against United. We all remember the volley at the Emirates against Liverpool. The Galatasaray banger as well. He's obviously had more good games than I've said here. But beyond that, for someone that's been here for 10 plus years, you can't really piece together 10 memorable games or plus memorable games that he's played. I mean, we know he's not Luka Modric and Toni Kroos and that, and I'm not saying he's that, but with them you can wheel it off. You can wheel off the games they've played good. Kante's strengths are completely different to Ramsey, and Kante is, for what he is a better midfielder than Ramsey. But Kante, for example, you can't really now because he's been consistent for so long, but you get my point. You're struggling for someone that's been here for 10 plus years and scored in FA Cup finals. You're struggling for games where he's been vital and led the team and all of these things beyond what I've just said, to be fair. I mean, Arsenal, we have a lot of, me as well, admittedly, we have a lot of romance around players. Like, when you remove the romance, has he ever been vital for this side? When you're picking your most important or best Arsenal side, has Aaron Ramsey ever been included? Does he provide discipline for the side? Clearly, Unai Emery doesn't trust him in the pivot role. Is he the best 10? No. Like I said, has he ever been vital for this side? Has he ever been important for this side? Bar 2-3 seasons, arguably, for the 10 plus years he's been here. It's not good enough. Clearly, Unai Emery doesn't favour him in the deeper role and wants to play him as a 10, and it's clearly not going to work for him. So if that's what he's concluded, we need to let a man go. I mean, he got the Player of the Year last year, and he was good, but beneath the hood, was he really quality? Was he really amazing that you're going to die if he doesn't stay? I want him to stay, like I said. Does he really grab hold of games? No, he doesn't. We know Wenger, Ramsey and Theo to a degree before he left would always get games under Wenger. Ramsey might not get that because he's only completed 90 minutes twice, I believe, this season. He was hooked off against City. He didn't start against Chelsea. I think he completed 80 minutes against Everton. I could be wrong. So yeah, when you remove the romance from this player, he's not vital. Does he really deserve 250k on top of Ozil, who doesn't deserve that 300? It doesn't make sense, does it? It really doesn't. I mean, over the last 2 years, he's missed 33 games, 170 days. So it doesn't really make sense. When you remove your bias towards him, the romantic thing around Aaron Ramsey and the fact he's been here for time, it doesn't seem good. What I can't understand is this club claims they're under financial constraints, which is why Unai Emery has allegedly decided to use the resources elsewhere. Why not sell him for 50 million in the summer? Like I've said, if you're working with a tight budget, you have to get the most you can for players that you deem want to be sold. You have to tie down contracts, and more importantly, don't give new contracts to players who are underwhelming. It really doesn't make sense. Like, really and truly, with Arsenal, we're in a day and age where 40 million is still big money transfer for Arsenal. That's how mad it is, and that's where we're behind. Allegedly, Ivan Glazides was the one who agreed the deal, and the I's and the T's just needed to be finalised. Dot the I's and cross the T's. But it's been pulled by Vinal and Raul Sanllehi in terms of it's not judged the best way of utilising resources. Allegedly, Unai Emery's demand said that it's too much money, or he's said that Aaron Ramsey's demands are just far too steep to warrant continuing, which is odd because if a contract's been agreed and been pulled, something's gone on that we don't know. And even more baffling is that when Unai Emery came to the club, he claimed he knew about Mavropanos, Holding, Maitland-Niles, etc. So he knew about everybody, young and old. So he knew about Ramsey. He said he wants to build the side around Ramsey. We know the contract stuff has a big part to play. But if he said all of that and it's been 6 games into the season, or even less than that, because he hooked him off it early on in the weeks, if he's concluded that Ramsey is not good enough for him to do what initially he wanted to do, or he was wrong about that, what's happened? I mean, it's concerning then if for all what Unai Emery said about him, if under 6 weeks or 6 games into the season that he's backtracked on that. I do think there's more to the story that we're not being told. I do think he could actually stay. He's definitely going to go. I mean, that doesn't make sense, but we'll never know until something actually happens because, yeah, man, we're not sitting down at the negotiation table. But when I sit down and think about it, Ramsey going is not that deep. I want him to stay. It would be a bit of pill to swallow, but it is what it is, man. We've been here with better players. Guys, DG.